What's going on, everybody? This is Dogface, and this is the first time. First time I drank Old Spray was probably in junior high school, I believe. And it's always been cran raspberry, you know. That's my favorite. I kind of wish I didn't say that before, because now in the past when it started, when I went to go get my juice, it wasn't there, you know. So I was like, man, should have said some other dang flavor, you know what I mean? Because they do have an assortment. Oh man, when I was little, I can't even tell you. I'm gonna say 5 or 6.
Now there you go again, you say.
Just growing up all the way, you know, from being a little kid, you know, with my mom, my parents, aunties and uncles, fishing out in the boonies, you know, just relaxing, living life, you know, just listening to good music. Oldies has my heart, you know, always. Fleetwood Mac, all the way up to Beatles, you know, everybody. There's so many good bands out there that a lot of people don't know about. We need to bring them all back and let the world hear it, you know. Keep music alive. It heals the soul. That was on a BBC Live. They did it as a surprise. And it was just funny because the way they brought it up and everything. And then they were like, well, we got someone here to talk to you. Or something. I can't remember what they said, but it was awesome, man. You know, and then just to see him over there on the other screen and then just talking to him.
Mick Fleetwood, welcome to the program. Say hello to Nathan.
Hey. That's what's up.
It touched my heart that he could take time out of his day, you know, to do that for me, you know. And I just appreciate him and everything they've done, the band, for exposing my video as well, you know what I mean? Because it isn't just one way. Without their help, you know, I wouldn't have gotten this big as I am now as well. So I want to say shouts out to, you know, Fleetwood Mac, Mick Fleetwood, and everybody for doing the parody of my video. Stevie and Lindsay did too as well. Lindsay's got on a horse, man. That horse was huge. Probably 11 or so, something like that. I started off skateboarding when I was 6 or 7, you know, but I started skateboarding on a banana board. I got called out by a chick one time. She's like, go get a real board, you know? And I was like, man, it's like she hurt my heart right there, you know? So after that, I got a fatter board, you know, and then eventually got a longboard. Takes you to a new place, you know what I mean? Just out there longboarding with music and everything. Slow, steady coasting, you know what I mean? It's awesome. I got the name Nate Dogg because growing up, living legend, Nate Dogg, the singer, you know what I mean?
They want to come up real quick before they start to clown.
Me being named Nathan, they cut it short to Nate. When he died, that's when I was like, okay, you guys can't call me Nate Dogg no more, you know what I mean? And basically they just cut it short to Dog. I figured I have a dog face. When I got my IG, I was trying to find out names. I put Dog. I used Nate Dogg, you know, just everything. Nothing fit. So I had to put Dog Face. That was there. It was open. Then I put 208 because that's where I stay. My daughter made an account for me after I was on hers, dancing and stuff, and, you know, doing stuff with her on hers. She's like, okay, well, you can get your own account now if you want. And I was like, I ain't going to go make me an account, you know what I mean? And she's like, okay, well, I'll make you one if you want. And I was like, all right, cool. So that was at the end of 2018. I didn't like it at first, you know, because it just didn't seem like anything, you know, it just seemed like a time waster, you know. But the joy I got out of it, you know, just dancing and everything and bringing back memories from the old times, you know, with different music and everything. Just feeling the vibe, you know, just dancing, like mimicking the music videos from MTV or just coming up with my own thing or even following trends, you know. It's just an amazing app, you know. And after a while of doing it, getting to figure it out and how to throw in edits and stuff like that, it just makes it more easier and more fun. And then, like I said, with the feedback you get from the community, that's what makes it worth it. 11 years old, I was with my brother, and we was in a trailer that we was living in, and he had some bud, and I was like, hey, man, let me smoke some. He's like, yeah, right, dude. And I was like, for real, let me smoke some. He's like, all right. He's like, I'm going to tell you this, because he had a half ounce of some poop, you know what I mean? You know, back in the day, you know. So then he's like, yeah, we're going to smoke this whole thing if you're going to do it. And if not, then we're going to do it. And I was like, all right, let's do it. You know, my mom went to bingo, I think it was that night. And so we're just sitting there in the back with the can because I think that's all we had, you know, and we're just puffing on it. And yeah, like I said, I just sat back and I'm like, okay, how do I know when I'm high? And then he's like, I don't know. He starts laughing at me, and he's just like, because he was gone, you know. And I was just like, well, how do I know? And he's like, just sit back. And he's like, if you can see everything from the sides, you know, you're high or something like that. And I was just like, what? And then, I don't know. We had our whole little stone moment there. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even think I was high or nothing. And yeah, but we was laughing for a good 2 hours or so. And the next day when we started smoking again, whatever, you know, continuing, whatever, that's when I really felt the effects, you know, I guess. But yeah, it was awesome. I bought an Eazy-E album, I believe it was.
Hey yo, doctor, here's another proper track.
And then that was also the first album that I got caught stealing, was an Eazy-E cassette. I stole it from Sam Goody, and then they have the security cases, you know, and I took it across the street to Burger King, and I was sitting there opening it, and there's an undercover cop there sitting there, and he comes up to me, and he's like, so do you know they open those for you whenever you buy them, you know? And I was like, oh, yeah. I told him just to leave it on. And he's like, oh, why would you do that? And I was like, I told him to leave it on because I wanted to just, you know, try to take it off myself. And he's like, oh, where'd you come from? And I told him, oh, I came from the mall. And he calls the mall while I'm still sitting there in Burger King with him. And then, yeah, they said, no, we've seen some kids in here. They didn't buy nothing. He comes back to me, puts me in a cop car. They called my mom. My mom came and picked us up because that's how they did it when you're, you know, a juvenile and everything. So, yeah, it was funny. I was 11 years old and I got my first tattoo. Boom, it's a cross with 3 dots on it. My dad was talking to me, you know, and he's like, well, you know, my dad has this, his brothers, you know, everybody has this tattoo. You're going to eventually get it sometime. And yep, we put it on my arm, and then it didn't go well with the right one because we used, what was it? We used pen ink at first. And then so it kind of just scabbed up and then went away. So I still have the scar of it on one side. And then we went and did it on this side because this side was already scarred up and everything. And yeah. And I've done this one over and over because it was just with a needle and thread. And so, yeah, I've done this one over like 20 times just to make it look like it does. And that's why it's all scarred up and beat up. But, yep. I was 14 years old when I got a first potato warehouse job. I was working there in the summers, and they'd only allow me to work 6 hours because I was 14. But that was when I got my first job, and it was always just potato warehouses from then on out, you know what I mean? And then till I was 16 or 17 is when I started to go do painting and construction and stuff like that. I seen it was better for me in the workforce than it was in school, you know? So I went and dropped out, stayed at work, figured I'd get, you know, a trade in my head, you know, and just paint for the rest of my life or something. But I got a lot of good work experience around, you know, while I quit and everything. And I ended up just staying at the warehouse, you know what I mean? I went to the warehouse in 2000. I've been there for till now, you know, 2000, 2020. I was a little bit of everything. We'd stack bags, you know, weigh boxes. I ran machinery there. And I was learning more about machinery before I left, you know, so it was basically just, yeah, a little bit of everything.